Okay, so here we are, gates open. This is where we are getting into the pasture. The mobile would have come from our right through the barbed wire fence and around this way. Gotta close the gate. He would have come through the fence right over there and swung this way along the edge of the fence line so that we didn't have to trim any of the trees on this property.
I'm going to drive us up and connect this back over to where he would have come from, and you can point behind us.
Okay.
To the cut in the fence, okay?
I've already angled that way to shoot it and then followed this way, so you're probably good as we sit to just get onto it.
He would have entered the fence, and his instructions from us were to hug the
tree line and follow the area that had been brush hogged. A little bit of it up here hadn't been cut, but we'll be on it as soon as we get next to this other open gate.
Tracks.
So this is now our family's part of the land that he was crossing over. He had to stop right about here.
Yeah, this is where the first brace broke.
The brace that he put on it out in the road before he came through the fence line. The only brace he ever put on it, well, the first brace, you're right, that he put on it because there wasn't anything before. And he had to stop here.
And he left to go get more lumber.
Yeah, he stopped here. He had to jack up the tongue with blocks to re-level it out a little bit because the mobile was coming apart. I have that illustrated perfectly in a still photo I took in this exact spot while he went to go get more lumber. And during that time, he straightened the telephone pole that was crooked because of him before he came back. So then, continuing on. Yes?
Sure.
Okay.
You can see that on the trees there are marked arrows. We had cut for him all these branches and everything. We cut this
we trimmed all of this up as much as we possibly could. There's insulation right there. I'm surprised the cattle haven't eaten it. There's a calf laying there, Daddy.
Yeah.
Can you turn the air up? Thank you. There's a cute little cow. So you can see the orange arrows because we led him through this path here. The first piece he had a spotter for. He didn't touch the trees at all. It was tight, but he made it. The second piece, he rubbed almost every single one. There's insulation and debris in our pasture. And then clearing these last two trees, and you can see the path that we had made sure it was mowed so that you could see any dips. We even used my husband used the blade on the tractor to flatten out some areas that we thought might be too rough. We spent a good 3 days prepping the route here through the pasture and over to where it was going to set. I have pictures of that process too.
None of the blade work. I was alone for that.
Yeah, I didn't take video of the blade work, but you can see the obvious spots, the obvious ones at least. But now, the faster you try to run over this, the rougher it's going to be, of course. I personally think he should have been just creeping along to be on the safe side. But I'm not supposed to be a professional hauler either.
You have a commercial driver's license.
I do have a commercial driver's license, yes. I guarantee you my bus kids would have had a much safer ride than that mobile did. So, that's one spot you kind of hit with the blade, didn't you?
Yeah. I cut that way down. There was a big hump. This is a this whole pasture is terraced. There were four terrace drops.
This one's gotten kind of messed up from us hauling back and forth that day because it was not as cattywampus.
Well, it was a lot bigger.
Yeah.
The drop was almost all these had at least a 1.5 foot drop. So
before you hit them with the blade to...
Yeah, I cut them way down.
Okay, so there's the group of rocks. Just beyond these rocks was the next spot that...
Oh no, he
stopped back there too.
He stops back there right at the big almost, what was it, probably 70-degree corner back there.
Yeah.
And then he stopped again next to these rocks. Where all the bracing failed again.
Okay, this is where Chelsea met up with us when she came over, and I left again.
And this is where we had the arguments with John, and he didn't want to release a copy of the contract.
Okay, and I wasn't here for that part, but that is on video.
On video also. Yeah, I thought I was about to get attacked until I mentioned that the camera was rolling.
Yeah, and your mom stepped in between you.
Everything calmed down, and he was okay with us having
then
a
he
contract
just stayed.
after that.
Yeah, then he just stayed away from us because I had come back shortly after that. Then he just wanted everyone to just stay away and let them do their job.
That was part of how I got the contract. After I warned him about the camera, I said, "Look, I will get out of your way. I'm taking this contract though."
Yeah.
And we took it back and got a copy of it.
They would have come in this way that we've brought you through here. You can see on this tree, can you stop for a second? There's some of, did you trim off? Yeah, you trimmed off some of this tree. This is the biggest, widest open area. I mean, there's more room in this spot than where it was moved from. And then set here. Now, I wanted it to set farther back, and we trimmed farther behind it to make room for that. And since he didn't have creepers, he was only hooked up to his truck with it, he couldn't actually place it where I wanted it. And because he was in such a big hurry when he brought the first piece over, I was on foot and I didn't get to catch up back here to see what was going on, although my husband was back here. And
it was quick.
He just kind of dropped it and left, according to him, and we didn't follow him for the second piece. So,
you know, just for clarity though, he was only in his truck. He didn't have creepers, and I watched him pull this thing in there. He got it in as deep as he could with his truck.
Yes, however, you expect mobile movers to have all needed equipment to put the thing where you need it. And yeah, it's not exactly where Mama wanted it, so I'm not entirely pleased.
We wanted it as close to that stump as possible. So just...
I wanted this back corner back farther so that the front angle of the building actually faced that tree. That was the view I wanted from the front of the house. So not only was the whole day a disaster, I don't even have the view where I wanted my home. So here are some of the blocks. Yeah, there were broken blocks over at the other place, so it's sitting on broken blocks now. Yeah. Yep.
Well, and this is the one that's still on wheels.
Yeah, this is the one that's still sitting on his axles. The second one was almost done being blocked according to the guys, but when the first one is almost leveled and put on blocks like it should be, supposedly, according to his guys. But when he arrived with this second piece, he had to retrieve them to come up and help since everything was falling apart. So you can see...
I'm going to start putting up the camera.
You can see these window jambs just don't match up anymore. I mean, they were old and a bit deteriorated before, but you can see this is new. This was not sagging like this. From the inside, the whole metal frame of this window, you can see light around. It's completely disconnected from itself. And there's various other damage. It would be a really long video if I continued with that. But as it sits right now, the piece that you're looking at is the one that you will be able to see in still frames and other video that was twisted. Walls fell down, the frames bent. This is the corner of the roof that was rolled back on itself. They just kind of flopped it back over. The pieces are not joined, they're not put back together, it is not level, and there is this 2 to 4 and 6 inch gap throughout the entire house. I don't really know what else to say. I have one window that's broken. There was one that was broken when they loaded it. There was one that was broken during travel. And that's about that. This is how we sit now.